Hey there, book friends! Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Caitlin, and this is my little sleepy co-host, Tishka, who is just so tired. Life is so hard being a pup. I wanted to do a wrap-up video of what I read in March. I have 7 books to talk to you about. I also had some do not finish books I broke up with that I made a video about maybe a week ago, if you're curious about that. So I'll be talking about these books from 5-star all the way down to the 1 2-star that I had without giving any spoilers away, just letting you guys know what these books are. It was a mix of thrillers, memoir, and some romance. So the first book that I want to talk about is one of the 5-star reads, and it's a memoir called I'm Laughing Because I'm Crying. And you guys, I don't read a lot of memoirs, but I'm not going to say the author's name because apparently in Korean culture, it's like overly intimate to say like someone's name. So I'm just going to respect her and not say that, but here's the author's name. So this is a Korean American comedian that I follow online. I didn't really know a lot about her. I just know that like she always makes me laugh. Her comedy is very like self-deprecating. A lot of it is about being biracial, being a single mom, like dating. And the themes of this book, like that I understood, were like discovering your own self-worth, overcoming trauma, and pursuing like a passion of yours late in life and just kind of saying like screw what anyone else thinks, just like being unapologetically yourself. I absolutely loved it. I'll tell you a little bit about the memoir. This is like her about her tumultuous life. She was born and raised in Korea until she was 20 and then kind of like fled to the US. Very interesting story. And it talks all about like the wild kind of life she's had, her entry into like the foodie circle and her marriage to this guy that would become this famous chef, aka the pesto champion of the world, comma lol. You guys have to listen to this as an audiobook if you read it because she narrates it herself and her comedic timing is just everything. She talks about how she was always poor and then rich and famous for like 5 minutes and then everything like burst into flames and she was poor again, but that was also like her cue into finally pursuing comedy after she had wanted to her entire life, and just kind of like putting herself out there and all of the happiness that came with that. I loved it so much. I cried 3 times listening to this. 2 of those times I was laughing and crying at the same time, which is like, the name of the memoir. And this is a point that she makes about how Koreans uh, use comedy to diffuse pain from like trauma. And yeah, I learned a lot, not just about her life, but also some really cool Korean folklore. She uses it as like metaphors to talk about her life. She's such a good writer. I had only seen her like comedy, like I had no idea like how gifted she was. So anyways, amazing book. Let me know if you guys end up reading it. I was trying to understand the pattern of like why I choose certain memoirs because I've only read a couple of memoirs in the last few years. They're all about women going through something traumatic, kind of overcoming that and what that looks like on the other side. So I guess that is my memoir vibe if you guys have any recommendations. Okay, the next 5-star book I read is Havoc by Christopher Bolin. I just did a full review of this thriller, so I'm just going to be brief about it. This is a cat and mouse thriller set in Luxor, Egypt, in a luxury hotel, and it's about this ridiculous rivalry between this 81-year-old woman and an 8-year-old boy, and it's just a lot of fun. It's like ridiculously suspenseful, just so well written. Absolutely loved it. If you guys want to hear more about it, you can watch the full review. Fans of The White Lotus will really like it. Let's talk about the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. Okay, I like to read a couple different genres, and I'm not gonna lie, the Dream Harbor romance book series is like the ultimate guilty pleasure for me. They are so cheesy and they're all happy endings, but they're really starting to grow on me. They've become like my ultimate like escapist read. And what I really like about them is that they follow the different seasons. So this one was spring themed, and I'm just like a very festive person. Like I love celebrating holidays and getting excited and like baking and decorating and stuff like that. So I was just all about the spring vibes here. And each book like zones in on a couple, and in this one we have this like single dad chef who's inspired by Carmi from The Bear and Gabriel from Emily in Paris, and he moved to Dream Harbor because he just found out that he has a 5-year-old daughter, and the mom just died and he never knew that like he had a child. So he moves to this town to take care of his daughter. He's like a Michelin star like chef working in Paris, and he ends up working in the diner. And he also meets this woman named Iris who ends up being his nanny, like his live-in nanny. And yeah, it's a very cute story, a very nice romance. They are very spicy. They kind of feel like Hallmark movies, but I just had a lot of fun. This is probably my new favorite of the series after the second one, The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I have other reviews for them. Maybe I'll do like a ranking video talking about, yeah, ranking all of them so far. We will see. The next book I read is called Swiped by L.M. Chilton. And this is a kind of book that I feel like I haven't seen before. It's like a cozy romantic thriller. And yeah, I just don't really see other books doing that. It was really fun. It was like a nice break from all of the dark stuff that I feel like I read. It's kind of like Bridget Jones, this woman in London, and she has like an ice cream truck or something. And she is like kind of down on her luck. Her roommate is getting married and she has to leave, and she just broke up with her boyfriend. And so she's on this dating app. But the thing is, every time she goes on a date, the guy ends up dead. There's like this string of, dead dates, and she's, of course, the prime suspect. And so she has to figure out what the heck is going on before she gets arrested or, winds up dead herself. It's very humorous. Like I just kind of like was chuckling along. Like just because there's a lot of the body count is high doesn't mean that it's like really scary. Kind of in the way that cozy mysteries have these like quick, clean deaths. It's kind of like that. Like my face was just like, ha ha ha, listening to all these kind of jokey British humor. And it has a twist at the end that somehow I didn't see coming. So it was a fun book. So let's get into the 3-star reads. Morbidly Yours is a rom-com with a very original synopsis. That is the whole reason why I picked it up. It's about this mortician who has to get married by the time he's 35, or else he'll have to forfeit the family business, which is the mortuary and the cemetery. And so he is looking for a wife, but the thing is that he is a demisexual, so like it's really hard for him to date. He has a hard time like having feelings for people, and we have this woman who moves in next door. She is a widow from Texas, and she's just moved to Galway for like an illustrator's job. Her job is very cool. His job, on the other hand, is a little bit icky, a little bit TMI sometimes. And she's going to help him try to find a wife. So he goes on all of these terrible dates, and it's very funny. Let's see. You can kind of guess what's going to happen between them. If it's a happy ending story, you know what's coming. But I will say that I didn't like how like carnal the spice was in this book. I thought it didn't really match the vibe of the story. So that's kind of why I gave it 3 stars. Another thriller I rated 3 stars this month was The Last Session by Julia Bartz. This just published on April 1st, and this is a thriller about this therapist who is trying to track down a missing patient of hers, and she thinks that she might be at this wellness retreat center in New Mexico that is showing all the signs of possibly being some kind of cult. So it's kind of like wellness gone bad type of story. Tishka, are you looking for your treats? We're going to do treats at the end of the video. I think he can smell them on the table. Anyway, so this book is very similar to her previous book, The Writing Retreat. It definitely kind of gets crazy and goes off the rails and is full of suspense. There's also quite a bit of sexual content in there. It's kind of in your face. I'm not sure if I will keep reading books by her in the future. this was kind of like her second chance, and I just thought it was okay in the end. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. I do have a full review that I posted recently. Last but not least, let's talk about The French Honeymoon by Anne-Sophie Joanneau. This is publishing, I think, April 15th. This is another NetGalley read. And you guys, I know it's my fault for requesting these books on NetGalley. No one is forcing me to read them, but I'm just having the worst luck recently with NetGalley. I keep thinking that a book is going to be great. I like the way that it's like presented, and then it turns out to be not for me at all. And that just kind of sucks because once you get approved for a book, you can't really be like, oh, never mind, like I changed my mind. You have to review it if you want your rating to be good on the site. So this thriller just didn't work for me at all, but I'll try to be fair with the way I talk about it because maybe it's for other people. Okay, this is about this woman goes to Paris and she checks into a honeymoon suite, but she has no husband with her. She just has a suitcase full of cash. And while she's on this honeymoon, she starts kind of like stalking this happy couple that seem to have it all. But the longer she's kind of like following them around, she realizes that there are actually a lot of cracks in their marriage and that they have some secrets. And chaos ensues. That's all I can really say. It's a very twisty kind of story. This was just kind of a popcorn thriller, and I don't have anything against this kind of book, but I just like really have to be in the mood for it, and I have to like the setting if I want to like get into the story. And it's just okay, so I lived in Paris for 4 years. The only places talked about are like extremely touristy places. Like, I feel like it's just to try to make Americans feel like, oh, traveling in Paris. And it's also, I don't want to sound rude here. I think it's commendable to write a book in a language that is not your native language, but unless it's done very well, like has really, really beautiful language, I don't really want to read it. Like it's a little bit clunky, and the language is just very like dull and basic. Like, she was beautiful. I taught English for a long time, and I kind of felt like I was reading like a student's paper, being so harsh. All the characters were really one dimensional. I just didn't like it at all. And I only finished it because, I had to since I requested this arc. So I would not recommend this book, but you know what? Maybe if you are looking for like an easily digestible thriller and you're studying English or something like that and looking for something that you know that you won't have a hard time understanding, then maybe I could recommend that one for you. But yeah, I'm going to be a lot pickier from here on out with the books that I choose on NetGalley because you guys, it's just a battlefield in there. Anyway, if you would like to feed Tishka, go ahead and like this video. All right, Tishka, you want a treat? Yes. All right, let's feed Tishka. Let me know what books you guys enjoyed this month. There are a couple of books that I was like just on the verge of finishing that I've like since finished that I guess I'll just have to tell you about in April, but books I've already read. Whalefall. This is a sci-fi thriller that was, wow, pretty interesting. I'll have to tell you about it. And then I ran in the opposite direction and actually just read a dark romance. I think my second time ever reading a dark romance called Lights Out. So I'll have some interesting books to tell you about in my next wrap-up video. Thanks for watching if you're still here. And Tishka and I will see you soon. Bye. Say bye, Tishka.
Adiós.